All right, welcome back. Now we have a lot of news to get into. But before we get into it, I have to address the Christians who may have been offended by my most recent live stream. If you are a Christian who hunts for your own food, no problem. I have no problem with that. And that was not meant as a lecture against that. But if you pose with your kill like that, I have to say that's questionable. You kind of you kind of lose your holy pass, your holy strength or whatever we would call that. You lose credibility, you know what I mean, as a Christian in my eyes. Just me personally, like, that's sadistic. Imagine if we did that with a person. Somebody was unalived, we knelt down, held up their head for a picture. That's seen as disrespectful. That's desecration. That's desecration. Isn't that what it's called? If I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm using the wrong word. But it's like demonic. I've always thought that was like demonic. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's why they would not accept anybody doing that to a dog. They wouldn't accept anybody doing that with a dog because it would be inappropriate to do it with a human. So, as long as you're not doing that, I wouldn't have any objection to that. I feel like animals like deer and stuff, nature appointed animals like that to be preyed upon. Nature sanctioned that, so there's nothing I can't object to humans being involved in it too, because if humans hunt, they're taking up a smaller percentage really than the natural animals that they kill. I don't know, but they're not gonna kill off the whole species if they. I mean, you can in some areas or whatever. It's just something that's it's like a weak argument. That's why I don't want anybody to think that I was trying to argue that hey, you shouldn't be unaliving deer because what? No. I'm just saying, but if you're a Christian who hunts, because there are Christians who hunt for their own food because they figure you don't have the additives, the toxins, and whatever else happens to livestock. Because some people believe that we are supposed to eat meat. They genuinely believe that. And I get that mentality. I get it. But if you're posing with the carcass, if you're holding that thing's head up, and on top of that, you're preaching me about God and love and Jesus nonstop, I gotta raise an eyebrow. That's all I'm saying. I gotta raise an eyebrow at that. Don't pose with the thing holding its head up. Don't do that. If you're doing that, cut that out, please. That's crazy. Again, that's disrespectful. You wouldn't imagine that being done with a person. You wouldn't imagine that being done with a person. And if you're a human who killed for food, isn't it all about food? Why are you holding his head up, taking a picture? That make it come off as it's more about. It's not just about food. It's like you get some type of personal thrill out of it. So that's, again, that takes credibility away from your whole argument. That, hey, it's natural for humans to eat meat, and so it's best if we hunt it ourselves. And okay, no problem. But don't take a selfie with the carcass. Don't. And hold the head up on top of it. Even if you didn't position the head. Let's say if you just laid down next to it, side by side, maybe in a pool of its blood, and you laid down and just got, and took a selfie that way. Could you imagine somebody showing you a picture like that in their phone? Just with a moose or something. I would think you were crazy, part of a cult and into some crazy stuff, and I would not want to be around you no more. What? Listen, that's just not a part of my culture, man. I'm sorry. Take into account that I'm speaking from a cultural perspective, okay? I'm speaking from a cultural perspective. I ain't taking pictures with no carcasses of no kind, okay? So as long, okay, that's all I'm saying. What is going on? What is going on? Now, there's a lot of crazy stuff in the news. And it's so bad that I don't believe I'm going to be able to cover it all. That's how bad it is. But you saw the thumbnail. Because that's the craziest story that's out right now, in my opinion. That story where suddenly, it seems like a lie. It seems like a lie. How did you get confused? How did you mistake a newborn being mauled to death by a dog? It's not even possible.
I want to return to that tragic breaking news we told you about at the top of the show. A 1-month-old baby killed by the family dog.
The tragic incident happened inside the Queensbridge houses in Long Island City. Eyewitness News reporter Crystal Cranmore joins us live from the scene. Crystal.
Good afternoon. Yeah, definitely a tragic situation. This family just bringing this baby into the world just a month ago, and according to police, that baby has now died at the hands of the family dog. You'll notice a police crime truck behind me. Police detectives are still on the scene. We are hearing from police that they're currently interviewing the parents. But take a look at some video. This is chopper video of the Queensbridge houses here in Long Island City. That newborn, according to police, was found inside her apartment with the family's German Shepherd. The mother apparently calling 911 and telling detectives.
Now y'all remember this. Y'all remember this, right? One more thing. Also, don't have a problem with people doing the same thing to dogs that they do to natural animals. That was also a part of my message. Y'all remember this story. You should remember this. It broke just 2-3 days ago. 2 or 3 days ago. It was in Queens. A bunch of people was like, oh, Queens, why would you be way up in an apartment building like that? It's like on a 26th floor or something crazy like it.
The horror in Queens.
Why in the world would you have a dog? They even said that dog was roaming around in the hallways off leash. They got a report of that thing roaming around in the halls off leash. Why would anybody report that if it's just a tiny little harmless puppy? So stuff is not adding up with this case.
The horror in Queens. An infant has died after a dog attack inside an apartment. Good evening. We thank you for joining us. I'm Natalie Pascarella.
And I'm David Ushery. Neighbors at the Queensbridge houses stunned at the news that the little girl was apparently attacked in bed.
Police were called to the scene after a 911 call from the infant's mother this morning. They said that the baby was found unconscious inside a 6th-floor apartment. News Force Gabi Acevedo live in Long Island City with the disturbing details. Gabi.
And Natalie, David, many neighbors, as you can imagine, are very upset here about this case. Investigators say that a 1-month-old baby died after what appears to be a horrible incident with a dog inside an apartment. A disturbing crime scene investigation at the Queensbridge houses. Neighbors wondering what happened to a baby girl who died inside a 6th-floor apartment.
One of my neighbors that live in my building told me that a baby that was 1 month got bitten by the dog, so I'm not really sure what actually happened.
Investigators bringing out bags of evidence from the upper level unit. A police source tells News 4 the little girl's mother, who called 911, allegedly told NYPD detectives that the baby was sleeping between her and her boyfriend when the family dog jumped on the bed and bit the girl's face.
I think it was a pit bull. It was like, I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, but I know it was definitely a pit bull.
As parents, you know.
Now, it's hard to believe that they're now talking about this tiny little harmless looking puppy. That puppy is not harmless, but is this the dog y'all are referring to this whole time? Really? That don't sound right.
Like waking up and seeing that, like the first thing is obviously, you know, to attack back and protect your child.
The medical examiner present at the scene. Officers say that when they arrived at the building between 12th Street and 41st Avenue around 6:40 this morning, they found a 1-month-old baby girl unconscious. Neighbors mentioned that police had visited the apartment in question for some type of disturbance over the past weeks.
I feel bad for the moms, but at the end of the day, I feel like whoever was in that house, they want to be irresponsible. I'm sorry.
And that a dog that looked like a mix between a German Shepherd and a Pit Bull was at times roaming around the building without a leash.
What? That puppy in the thumbnail? Okay. That don't sound right. Somebody lying. Y'all lying.
German Shepherd and a Pit Bull was at times roaming around the building without a leash.
Yeah, I had a dog too, but one thing for sure, as parents, we just have to be really careful with our kids, you know, because you never know what can happen.
Okay. I never suspected that these people were not sure that this was actually like the cops were also confused. They came and found a newborn with no puncture wounds and believed that it was a dog attack. Okay. So recently, this news.
There is a new twist tonight in the investigation into the death of a 1-month-old baby girl in Queens. An autopsy has revealed the newborn did not die from a dog bite. Authorities initially thought that the child was killed by the family's dog yesterday in Long Island City, but now investigators say the baby was already dead when the dog bit her. The true cause of death is still pending further tests.
Okay.
We begin tonight with breaking news. New developments in the tragic death of an infant in Queens. I'm Natasha Verma. Steve has the night off. The medical examiner's office says that the baby was not mauled to death by a dog, as we first thought. Let's get out to Linda Schmidt live in Long Island City with the latest. Linda, what do we know tonight?
That's right. Good evening, first of all, to you there, Natasha. Well, first of all, let me tell you this. The baby's mother is 26 years old, and she had told police yesterday that she and her boyfriend were sleeping in bed, and that the baby, a 1-month-old infant, was sleeping in bed in between them. And when they woke up in the morning, they found their pet dog, a puppy, on the bed, attacking the infant and chewing the baby's face. However, the city medical examiner's office tonight issuing a statement saying the dog did not kill the baby. Now, 1-month-old Kiana Winfield, that's the picture you are looking at right now. She was found dead inside the family's NYCHA apartment in Long Island City, Queens. This picture of the baby was obtained by the New York Post. Police responded to the Queensbridge houses on 12th Street about 7 o'clock yesterday morning. Now, police say the parents claimed that this puppy, that is just 6 weeks old, attacked and mauled the baby girl. However, the city medical examiner's office has issued this statement saying, quote, the cause and manner of death are pending further study and will require additional testing. But the medical examiner has been able to determine this is not a fatal dog mauling. In fact, the injuries to the baby by the puppy happened after the baby was dead. Also tonight, the NYPD awaiting the medical examiner's determination as to what exactly caused the baby's death. The ME's office telling me some additional testing, as I said at the top there, is still underway at this time. It could be anywhere from a few days.
Okay, we've heard this before. Even with adults, we've heard this before. Does it really matter that the dog did this after a fatality? Does it really matter? Right? Because what if the baby was not unalived before the attack? Then the attack would have unalived the newborn. But I'm confused. How did you all not know this? So they found a mauled, mutilated newborn and thought that the dog did it. But they're saying that this puppy did that? This small puppy? Are they even that vicious at that size? Because if they are, I'm surprised by that. Even as a person who's been covering dogs for as long as I have, if a dog that size is able to just rip and shred, is that what they're trying to say? That, hey, there's no way this small puppy, because that, okay.
We do have an update now to a story we first brought you yesterday. We have some new video of a puppy initially blamed for killing an infant in Queens. But as News 4's Jackie Beckford explains tonight, an autopsy now reveals that the baby girl was not mauled to death.
Why did this struck me as ridiculous? Am I alone on that? It struck me as ridiculous. Like, why? This was the puppy the whole time? Okay, people.
Queens. But as News 4's Jackie Beckford explains tonight, an autopsy now reveals that the baby girl was not mauled to death.
New video of the puppy initially thought to be responsible for the mauling death of a 1-month-old baby. Now, in a stunning twist,
so that should shock the dog world. Even a puppy of this size will do something like that and capable of doing something like that. Y'all always showing puppies off like this as if they're harmless. No, they're just as vicious, just as deadly. Assuming that the victim had severe lacerations, okay? Which I would expect for the victim to have if everybody thought that the dog was responsible.
Thought to be responsible for the mauling death of a 1-month-old baby. Now, in a stunning twist, the medical examiner says the dog had nothing to do with the infant's death.
Yeah, the screams was blood curdling.
Police arrived on the 6th floor of the Queensbridge houses Tuesday morning to find baby Kiana Winfield unconscious. A police source says the baby's mother had called 911, telling the dispatcher she and her boyfriend woke up to find the baby, who was sleeping with them, being attacked by the German Shepherd Pit Bull mix puppy.
Yes, I live right across the street, and my children go to school around that time, and it was a lot of people that was notified just from the scream alone.
But sources tell News 4 the medical examiner determined that the injuries inflicted by the dog happened after the baby had already died. What caused the infant's death still being investigated.
Because I only seen the baby like 2 days ago.
Neighbors watched in horror as investigators brought out bags of evidence Tuesday, but say this isn't the first time police have been to that apartment.
Cops was always in this building because of them.
At this point, police have not indicated any foul play in the baby's death. Efforts to contact the mother were unsuccessful. A friend of the baby's mother telling us over the phone she was excited about becoming a new mom, sending her adoring pictures of the newborn. Now, that friend and everyone else left wondering what happened to baby Kiana. We asked the animal care centers about the future of the puppy. They did not have an answer. Now, again, at this point,
that is ridiculous.
The medical examiner has ruled out what did not cause baby Kiana's death, but they're still investigating
that worthless mutt. I don't care. You hear me? I don't care. I don't care if there was some other reason for the fatality, and then that mutt launched that attack after. It still launched the attack. It's making it despicable. That don't make it any less despicable and dangerous. Dangerous. Not something you should have in the home. Something's gonna hop in the bed, hop in your bed. It's bold enough to go in between the two parents, the two adults. Are you crazy? No doubt y'all thought that the victim was safe, snuggled in between you two. No, you got anything in the house that's willing and able to do that, you get it out the house. It's common sense. Dog culture it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. Now, recently, an animal control officer was attacked. And this was kind of ridiculous.
Yvonne, thank you. Now to a bloody dog attack in Fort Lauderdale we first told you about last night at 11. A woman is in the hospital after being mauled by a bulldog, and we're now hearing the frantic calls made to 911. CBS News Miami's Nakaya Carrero has been following this story every step of the way. She joins us from the scene now with the latest. Nakaya?
Lauren, last night people told me all they could hear was that woman screaming for help. Well, today we're hearing the terrifying moments the 911 call was made by a woman as her son tried to save that animal control worker. We do want to warn you, it is upsetting to hear.
I need emergency, please! Emergency, please! What's the address? The dog is mauling her. There's a dog mauling her.
Your animal control. This is the people we're supposed to call. And they're calling this a bulldog? See how they have this bulldog off to the side right here? They're saying these dogs are the same? Of course. Of course they are. I think this is the dog. You can see blood right here on the thing here, in the bars, all over the dog's face. Okay. And they, remember, they cry about how pit bulls are misidentified. Yeah, they sure are.
In the 911 call, the woman screams, begging for the dispatcher to send help immediately. At one point, you could hear the dog growling as they wrestled to get it off the animal control officer. Last night, she was sent to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, but today, Fort Lauderdale police say she is expected to survive. CBS News Miami was the first on scene and captured the moment the dog was placed into an animal control vehicle covered in blood. The woman and her son, who helped save her, could be seen covered in blood as they were being checked out by paramedics. At one point, the woman told the dispatcher her son had gotten the dog off the animal control officer and was laying on top of it so it wouldn't get loose. Now, Fort Lauderdale police say there is not a criminal case open at this time, but that could change depending on any new information. Now, we've reached out to Fort Lauderdale police and animal control to find out what happened to the dog once it was removed from the scene.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to lay on top of a dog. And they expect the good people of the world to do stuff like this. Hey, jump in and help. Oh, she's under attack. Lay on the dog. Lay on it. You heard Caesar saying that. Oh, this is what good people do in the society. We help each other. No, you keep these mutants out of the community. That's what you do. That's what you do. These people are tweaking out. Okay? It's getting kind of ridiculous. Let me check here real quick because it's real bad with the articles, the recent articles that have surfaced. My goodness. A Manhattan pet attack ordered. Nobody cares about that. Oh, that looks kind of brutal. That was a chicken. What? Okay. I don't think I'm allowed to play that. Okay. Well, this is ridiculous. Okay, hopefully they don't show anything crazy here. This is in Manhattan. What? Manhattan? Manchester. Not Manhattan. Manchester.
A baby has suffered serious and life-changing injuries to her face after being attacked by a dog. The horrific attack happened in Denton in Tameside on Thursday evening, May 29th. Police have now launched an investigation with crime scene investigators seen on Friday morning. A 21-year-old woman and a 53-year-old man were injured alongside the 1-year-old baby girl. The man and woman's injuries were described as serious but not life-threatening or life-changing. Emergency services were called to Baslow Road in the Horton Green area at around 5:50 p.m. Greater Manchester Police said...
Okay. All right. Now things are about to get real. Oh, 1 second here. Yeah, I hopped on here earlier. It was around 5 or so. And I checked out the news then. I'm scrolling. The first page. I'm like, what is this? I guess this is an uptick. Okay, this is the first day of June. So, no surprise there. No surprise there. Okay, that's the one we just saw. Yeah, they've released the postal workers or the rankings once again. Woman suffers life-threatening injuries in dog attack in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, did we? Yeah, that's the animal control officer. SWAT team couldn't capture dogs that killed KC man. So they left. SWAT team couldn't capture the dogs that killed Kansas City man, records show. So they left. That's interesting. They left. SWAT? That was a smart decision, huh? Oh, let's just leave. Why capture it? Just euthanize it on the spot. Don't tell me you couldn't see it. It was tied to a car at Tebow, okay, Tebow residence in the Marlboro East neighborhood, Kansas City, March 26. Okay. Okay. So they tried to, I guess the deal was to keep the dogs contained until the next day. And when the officers returned the next day, the pit bulls were gone. Patrol schedule was created to keep an eye out for them, but didn't start until 4 days later. Documents, okay. I've seen that guy before. I've seen this guy before. Okay, I don't like the fact that I've seen him before. Yes, this has to be old news. I've seen that before. And why did it surface 2 days ago? Residents and dogs again feel, look at this. This is weird. As residents and dogs again fill Chicago parks, data shows fewer than 1 in 4 reported bites results in citations. Really? We all know that. The rule is just to go on about your business, or the people will just run away. They're going to stick around to be cited. See, they know how much of a problem dogs are, and they understand that the problem is getting worse. And I don't know, I guess they're just having fun creating new articles. They're not doing anything about this. Nothing at all. They're having fun. Hey, look, dog attacks on postal workers went up by 10,000 within 2 years. Look, lengthy police response time under investigation following Maryland dog attack. String of dog maulings leaves New York City pet owners without recourse. Huh? This is horrible. A mother and son duo in Fort Lauderdale described rescuing animal control worker during bloody attack. Okay, it's the one we just saw. Ridiculous. Maryland dog attack caught on camera. Victim. Police never responded. Okay, let's check that out. I want to see what you were doing. Were you trying to pet the dog? Let's check that out. Sometimes I feel for these people. They seem to be under control of some type of, I've seen this. We've seen this. And they are. They're brainwashed. They're brainwashed. And then sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't feel sorry for them. Sometimes I feel sorry for them. Just being honest. Yeah, I don't know about that. How? Remember, the first story was that the dog jumped on the bed. And then they said they woke up and saw the dog attacking the newborn. That's weird. And that puppy was very small. Very small. And if it's capable of an attack that leaves everybody believing that it caused the unaliving, that's serious. And that's really what they need to be talking about. Ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. How to get dog bite legal help? Okay. After, see, of course, of course, the lawyers may as well cash in on it. There are a whole bunch of dog bite attorneys now in the world. Oh yeah, they're just gonna cash in on it. Doctors get more patients come in, that's more money. They figure, hey, you silly enough to acquire them and love them the way that you are. May as well cash in on it. Okay. Yeah. Boy. Two California cities in the top 10 on postal workers. I mean, why aren't... You're basically guaranteed to be attacked eventually. If you're a postal worker, why not give these people weapons? If you still allowing your dog to attack people, your dog got it coming. That's what cops do. They show up, your dog tries to attack them. Okay, that's the end of your dog. Postal workers, right? Aren't they government employees? I wouldn't be taking the chance, man. This ain't no minor puncture wounds. Talking about infections, possibility of infections, sepsis, could end your life. My goodness. Chris Brown seeks court protection for family in $90 million dog attack suit. Yeah, celebrities are always in the news for dog attacks as well. Woman loses foot after being mauled by dogs in suburban Harvey. 4 days ago? 3 youngsters transported to the hospital after dog attack in Lexington Park 4 days ago also. She lost her foot. There you go. Just lose a foot. It's a pet though. How'd you lose your foot? My pet. Oh. My goodness. Wait a minute. Oh, that's not funny. I'm sorry, I laughed at that. But she said she was dragged, 58-year-old woman, dragged up and down a suburban Harvey street while being mauled by a pair of dogs. Yeah, it's terrible, actually. 58 years old. That's not something you want to be happening to you at 58 years old. Being dragged down the street by dogs. Says her life will never be the same after most of her foot was amputated following the attack, which left her to undergo 7 surgeries. She was walking home from a friend's house. Of course. Now, this is another example of what I was talking about, how nobody accuses adults of provoking the dog. That's never a question. That's never up for debate. She was walking home, said, I turned around and saw 2 dogs. I fell backwards and they attacked me. One grabbed my leg, one grabbed my shoulder, and they just started mauling me. You see how adults can just tell you what happened. Nobody questions them. So the whole idea of dogs being provoked applies to those 13 and under. So dog culture has certain things that only apply to them, which is crazy. Especially, something like that. Hey, if you're young, it's your fault. You provoked it. These things are crazy and attacking people of all ages. But if they attack you, you did something. Okay, yeah. And that's actually built into the law. That's why they conduct investigations, for the most part. She's 125 pounds. Drug her for 15 minutes. All I could think is, I'm getting mauled by dogs. Is this really happening? They were pulling me from both ends. Yeah, sounds like a horrible experience. 2 vehicles pulled up. He saw me. He saw them mauling me, and he flashed his lights, blew his horn, but they never stopped. You see, he didn't hop out. He flashed his lights and blew his horn. He tried that first. He didn't jump out. Look at that. See, grown men don't even want to help. Man. I heard ARF and they ran away. Another driver called 911. I held my head up and was like, please don't leave. I'm going to leave you. Oh, wow. Doctor said, I'm going to need your permission to amputate your foot. And I said, yes. Oh, my goodness. Ugh. Yeah, I'd rather neutralize those mutants and deal with it in the courts. Okay? Yeah, I'd rather do that than lose a foot. It's too bad you're, forcing these options onto us. But I have a better chance of getting off and getting away by defending myself. This is horrible. All the bites in the road was awful. They tried to make it seem like I did something wrong or was a reason for what had happened, huh? She said that when detectives finally came to talk to her, she felt like she was being blamed for the attack. Huh? Really? I would have liked to hear that conversation. I would have heard that conversation. That's just, okay. What? See, I marched to the mayor's office after the detectives started to victim blame, her sister added. He said, Harvey's a dangerous place. Why is your sister walking down the streets of Harvey? Huh? You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Why are you walking down the street? It's a dangerous place. Well, if you letting dogs just roam, yeah, it's dangerous. What in the world? Okay. Okay. You see? This was 4 days ago. Ridiculous. LA #1 with most mail carrier attacks in the nation. Los Angeles? Okay. I bet you anything it was one dog. Yep. One dog. Bit at least 5 people. There you go. There you go. One dog. And here's the thing. It didn't have rabies. There's no, that would have been the headline. Dogs do this without having rabies. That is really supposed to be rabies behavior. Just going around biting people. That's behavior that they're supposed to display when they're infected with something that makes them want to bite multiple people. Think about that. They have that naturally. And they're loved to death more than other animals? No. No, not over here. Oh my goodness. That is horrible. That's horrible. What can we do? What can we do? We're doing all that we can. Oh my goodness. And you notice the dog attacked mostly youngsters. Attacked 5 people, 1 adult. Wow. Could you imagine the optics? I bet you anything it dodged multiple adults. Went right past multiple adults. That's what they do. And these trainers know it. That's why they offer classes to try to get dogs to not want to attack youngsters. Crazy. Look at your precious dogs. Dog attacks on postal workers continue to increase in New Mexico. Well, yeah, everywhere. Map show, okay, they're doing this again. Showing more maps. Ohio, one of the worst states for dog attacks on postal workers. True. Shelter warns rescue dog likely to attack cat. Then the okay. Dog attack with 10 sheep and 3 lamb dead. Another example. Just running through attacking. Without rabies. And a bear attacks and critically injures woman walking her dog. There you go. There you go. Despite deaths and public outcry, Texas fails to pass dangerous dog legislation. Thanks, Texas. Thanks, Texas. Baby and 2 adults rushed to the hospital after dog attack. Okay, we already saw that one. My goodness. That was a month ago, I think. Yeah. People family of 4 to what? Pit bull attack in Minneapolis sends family of 4 to hospital, police say. Man, when will these people ever learn? When will they ever learn? Now, some of you know that I'm open for a good discussion, and I still am. Because some of the people, they believe that, you know, you have to eat meat because you need the nutrients that meat offers. But I will say that you get them in vegetables. There's nothing that's in meat that you can't get in vegetables. In fact, meat, it represents itself in your body as amino acids. You know, if you want to be technical, they break down into amino acids. And all the amino acids you find in meat, you find in vegetables. You can look it up. I even search amino acid in meat, but not plants. And they even say all amino acids can be found in both meat and plants. So you got all the amino acids you need. Let's say beans or something or whatever. Peas is where you get these amino acids. I think also like brown rice and stuff like that. Spinach, I know the leafy greens got some protein. Protein is basically what I'm saying. Protein, it breaks down into amino acids and you get them all in plants. Also vitamin B12. I know a lot of people have mentioned vitamin B12, but there's of course vegan sources of that too. So I've never understood the need for animal meat is what I'm saying. So if people were wondering about that, yeah, I've always, that was one of the biggest reasons I went vegan. I'm like, oh, okay, I can get my amino acids. They even have the concentrate, like you can get powdered, like in the vegan form. So yeah. Especially seeing that it always scared. Well, it didn't scare me. Well, it did scare me. Still does scare me. It scared me that meat is the source of so many cancers. I'm like, what? There's no way we were designed to eat it if it's the source of so many cancers. And it's like the leading. It's the leading source of cancers, or many cancers. Like they have to do with your digestive system, stuff like colon cancer, stuff like that. Like, yeah, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. So, yeah. Somebody mentioned, hey, they think we're omnivores. I don't know about that either. Omnivores, vicious. They'll tear into some live animals. No problem. I could never do that. I can never do that. No, they may as well be considered carnivores. They get down just like them, you know. Yeah, it's in plants. So yeah, I don't know. That's just me, man. Maybe I'm paranoid. Maybe I'm a little paranoid. I do move with a little bit of paranoia. And I think that's good. Keep you on your toes. Keep you on your toes. I'm gonna keep up with this story. It seemed like there's some foul play. That puppy looks ridiculously small.
Return to that.
And I wouldn't put it past dog culture to do something low class like this. You know, even with that, I hope I'm wrong. Well, right. All right, let me get out of here. Big shout out to all of you. Hope you're having a wonderful dog-free weekend. And we'll continue to do so as we continue with this crusade.